Hi everyone, and welcome to the CMA Taupo Chapter Northland Tour, Day 8. We went from the motel this morning. This is the last day. This is Day 7, and went to the Kitty Food and Craft Fair where we had breakfast, and then we moved on our merry way. We left the tour there, and we went to Tutukaka for a couple of days, and they went on down to Auckland to stay overnight, and then back down to Taupo. Yeah, hi everybody, I'm Goose. Welcome to my channel, Loose with Goose. So as you can see, this is Day 7 and Day 8 together. The fine plans of mice and men didn't quite get there. Just a couple of pictures here from the fair. There's the group that we were touring with, apart from Gary, he was taking the photograph. But at the fair there was a bit of a show and shine, some of the local bikes and a few cars. And we met this guy here, and this is Tuhoi Isaac, mongrel mob leader from way back, and now a man of God, and a very fine gentleman he is too. So that was sort of a bit of a highlight there. But then we were on the road out to Tutukaka. At the moment we're going, this is coming up to the Brendurwins. We didn't see this on the way down because we ran through Hamilton. Great little bit of road up through here. But as we're saying, the best laid plans of mice and men. We got out to Tutukaka on that was the Saturday. This film here is on the Sunday, and I noticed there was a big rain bomb coming through all over the North Island. So I decided to ride home on the Sunday instead of on the Monday, which I'm very pleased I did. Helen came, my wife came through the day later, and she had rain all the way. But as well as that, Auckland was locked down to a level 4 COVID as well on the Sunday night at midnight, and next day on our way through, as well as having all the rain and a 7.5 hour actual driving without brakes. She got caught up in a 2.5 hour COVID checkpoint for 2.5 hours, which she wasn't all that pleased with, but that's the way it is, and it is what it is. Anyway, she got home safe and sound. So the guys themselves had a good trip down to Auckland, stayed overnight, and then went down to Taupo the day after. So this is coming down the Brendurwins. Great piece of road, great scenery again. It's been a great trip. I've been having quite a fair bit of time to think about it on this ride. The ride itself's about 7 hours 25 long, bit over 600 k's for the day, so it's a fairly good day. And got my rest stops are planned out pretty well. So my first stop is actually going to be in Wellsford to get up there, and then that way we can just bypass Auckland, get straight through it and get down the country a bit into Tirau for the second gas stop, and then down to Taupo. But there'll be a lunch stop at the Papakura Autobahn. So that's the way I've got the day planned out. So here we are, just riding through more of this beautiful Northland countryside. And here we are coming into Wellsford, and this is the first choke point we had. This is Sunday morning, so and it's also, I think, the last day of the holidays, one of the long weekends that we had. So there's quite a bit of traffic about the place, but it was all well behaved, so it was good. So here we are in Wellsford, just gassing up for the first scheduled stop. And a quick splash and dash for us both, and off we went. Quite a few bikes on the road today, not just because of the weather. It was very, very hot, but also a lot of the guys will be coming back from the Burt Munro down south. So coming on from Wellsford, the first highlight, if you like, there's all sorts of little things there, was Dome Valley. This has been quite a choke point for quite some time with the traffic coming through to Northland. and as you can see, they're now doing something about it. They've been working at it for a little while. So when it's finished, it'll be pretty good because there's some absolutely brilliant scenery, as you can see through here. So tidied up, this is going to look really, really nice and be a good traffic flow going as well. Yeah, look at that. It's very pretty, isn't it? Makes the riding a pleasure. This guy here came up through behind me. Must be one of the local riders around Auckland anyway, because he did a lot more filtering than I did, and he had a bit more squirt in that machine that he's riding. I couldn't see what it was, but I stayed with him for a little while, and then he was just rode the white line through. And coming out of the end of Dome Valley is one of the most famous little spots for bikers and around the place. It's the Puhoi village, a very historic village. But the Puhoi pub's got a history going back for a long, long time, and it's the watering hole for bikers and a lot of other people too. Unfortunately, this time I didn't have a chance to stop in, but we certainly will on the next trip up. So there's the turn off road to the right hand side, and again the road works there. It's all going to link up, so the whole ride through will be very, very a lot quicker and very, very comfortable. So our next little highlight coming through is the toll road through the tunnels here. That road to the left is the last off-ramp before the tunnels, otherwise you'd be paying a toll. And that goes out through Orewa and Waiwera. And lovely little towns now. They weren't much back in the day when I first knew them, but they've been developed very, very well, and it's a very picturesque drive or a ride out through there and around the coast. And after that, it was just pretty much motorway all the way through into Auckland. Good blacktop, well maintained, and the traffic got a lot heavier as we got into Auckland, as you can see, but everyone was very well behaved and we just kept moving quietly. As you can see up ahead there, there's quite a bit of traffic heading back into Auckland. And here's the view of the Auckland skyline. Coming up shortly, we'll be going up over the Auckland Harbour Bridge. But really nice to see. It was a beautiful day. The water looks absolutely amazing. And the bridge itself is interesting because this is the first time. This is the approaches to it now. It's the first time I've ridden it on a motorcycle. I've been over here quite a few times in a car, but never been on a bike up here before. And again, the views are pretty good. They're pretty stunning. And over the top, and the views just open out in the Waitemata Harbour. Absolutely beautiful. And see the big marina there on the left-hand side. I think if they sold all the boats from there, New Zealand would be debt-free for the next 20 years. But probably about 2/3 of our GDP is tied up in that little patch of water. But no, very, very, very nice. Great to come over and great to see that scenery. The biggest thing here for me was to keep in the right lane. I didn't want to be shunted off into Auckland City itself. So this is the last view of Auckland we had, and then it's up the motorway again. Here we're going under the old Spaghetti Junction. But again, the motorway itself is in pretty good repair too, good roads, and so the traffic was behaving itself. So it was quite a good ride. And the next stop, there's the Papakura sign. That's the one I'm looking for, because just after the turn off to the Papakura township is my lunch stop, and here it is here, going into the Papakura Autobahn. So both myself and the bike can have a bit of a rest and get some food. Be all watered up and ready to go for the next run down the country. I don't know what the temperatures were here. They must have been very close to 30 anyway, for Celsius. And I was hunting for a bit of shade to put the bike in, and all I could find was that little camellia there, and I think all that got shaded was the front wheel. But there you go. So back on the road again, heading south to up over the Bombay Hills, and here we are coming over the other side of it now, and the Waikato just opens up ahead of us. And again, this beautiful road all the way through. I've cut a lot out, but because it's one motorway travel, you need to see something a bit more than that, or I do anyway when I'm watching these things. And here's the totems for the Taniwha, welcoming you into the Waikato. And then we're into Hamilton, and bypassing around the outskirts of Hamilton, and then over the mighty Waikato River. And we'll be crossing over the Waikato about another 100 k's further down the road too. But now we're heading off for our for our next gas stop, and that's in T-Rail. So in the magic of editing, here it is now, and of course I've got the iconic dogs, the other sheepdogs, and there's public loos there and an information centre. So if you're coming through T-Rail, certainly worth a visit and a photo shoot. Get the iconic photos of those. But here's my next gas stop. And away we go again. And this traffic you can see coming towards us, all this traffic coming north, must come in from either the Coromandel or Bay of Plenty or both, because there's an absolute stream of it, and I'm really glad I'm heading south instead of going north. So down deep into the Waikato now, this is Tokoroa. And coming in now through the Kaingaroa forest. Beautiful place, beautiful part of the country. And then we had a quick stop. This is the Bullring. There's a cafe here. If you're going past, stop in and stretch your legs and have something to eat. Nice little place. I popped in here because the cameras needed checking. I had to change a card over and make sure the batteries were okay. And then back on the road again. On the right hand side there's that big piece of rock, like a big butte, covered in pine trees, and that's you can see that for miles around. Great stuff. And here at the bridge, this is the Waikato River again. This is the one we passed in Hamilton a couple of hours back. And coming down through into Atiamuri. And that little mountain, as it is, Mount Tahara, in front of us there, that's where we're heading to. The Z station is there, and that's where I'll be stopping for a coffee and my last fuel up and rest before we get the last hour and a half to home. But as we were coming in, I was spotted by Richard and Michelle, and they've been riding with us all week. So they met me at the Z, and we all had a coffee together and a quick prayer of Thanksgiving, and away we went again, heading for home. On the right hand side there, that's Lochinvar Station. It's quite a big station there. And there's the Rangatiki Motel on the left hand side there. But it's been really good to think back on the tour while we've been on this ride home. I've had 5 or 6 hours to think about it. But really, just as a bit of a roundup, I think the best part, apart from the camaraderie and a lot of fun that we had and the support, etc., was having Helen, my wife, on the ride. Even though she wasn't riding pillion, she was in the backup vehicle, and it was great to be able to take most of us in together. And the highlight, I think, for me, was going up to Cape Reinga. That was really, really good. I've been looking forward to that for ages. The best food, that's got to be the barbecue on the last night that Robert and Lisa put on for us with the traditional South African food. And some of the best food we've had, one of the most unusual was in Russell at the Butterfish Cafe. where they had eggs Benny, and instead of having ham or smoked salmon like they sometimes do, they had it with smoked kahawai. And Diane had it, and she said it was absolutely stunning. It was really, really good. Now, the funniest moment, I think, was at the motel by the pools where Gary got hit upon by a young gay gentleman and wanted him to go in the pool with him and go swimming, etc., but not realising that Gary was a crusty old hetero and very happily married. But so we got a fair bit of fun out of that, and Gary got a fair bit of ribbing. Well, the scariest moment for me was when those cattle beasts came across the road. You've seen a couple of episodes back on the trip to Cape but we got over that fairly quickly. And the only downside, I think, to the whole tour is that it wasn't long enough. I could have carried on up there and riding with these guys for ages. It was a brilliant tour, and would I do it again? In a heartbeat. Definitely would. Okay, so we're just coming down the bottom of the steep sharp corner there. This is just before Tarawera, which is halfway pretty much between Napier and Taupo. And I'm going to sign off here very shortly, but thanks for being on tour with us. It's been great to have you along. I hope you've enjoyed it. So if you have, leave some comments and likes and subscribe to the channel, etc. Hit the bell icon. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. And don't forget to ride free. And of course, God bless.